I'm late, friends. Apologies. Hello. Hi. How are you? Hi, friends. Sorry for the delay. I was a little bit late as I was watching the news. Did you see whose home was raided today? Oh, I can't wait to discuss. Hello. Hi, friends. Hi, Andrew. Hello, Anita. Hello, Just B. Hello, hello, hello. As we begin every Woke Wednesday, yay! Finally making it to a live. Welcome for your first live Woke Wednesday. So friends, as I usually do, I say to drop an emoji of how you are feeling halfway through this week into the comment section. If I'm dropping an emoji, I guess it would be my thinking emoji, as well as I'm just very excited that today in New York, it is damn near 80 degrees. Okay, so also a happy emoji. So a thinking emoji because the headlines are fucking wild, but also a happy emoji because the weather is changing, and with that my mood changes. So I'm super excited about that. How are you all doing this week? What's the headline too that kind of shocked you so far on this Good Wednesday? Thank you so much for liking my shirt. It says, and I know I wear all of these shirts that you then have to read backwards, but obviously it says legalize being black, which we will discuss. So yes, the Rudy raid, y'all. So that's what we're gonna start with, because I need to start with some news that I just think is great, as opposed to my norm, which is talking about yet another unarmed black person that has been shot dead by police, which we will get to all of those. But before that, let's talk about Rudy Giuliani, shall we? Okay, fantastic. So Rudy Giuliani is a fucking slug. When we talk about, remember when Donald Trump was like, oh, we're going to drain the swamp, but he meant drain it and put all of the contents of said swamp inside of the White House? Rudy Giuliani would be like the swamp master, right? Like he would be the head of like the swamp people. Do you remember the press conference that he did with the dye dripping from his face in front of like a fucking video store, like it was 1990, in front of the landscaping Four Seasons, and then the Four Seasons Hotel had to come out and be like, we ain't a part of this fuckery, so please continue to patronize us. So today, right, tomorrow will be 100 days that the Biden-Harris administration has been in operation. And to think about the things that this administration has tackled as we head tonight, by the way, I will be on Twitter live tonight at D2 Cents, same handle for the joint session, for the first joint session of the Biden-Harris administration. It will be historic. Nonetheless, Rudy Giuliani fucking Ani had his apartment raided, had his office raided, has his devices taken. Why? Because he's a fucking leech. So Merrick Garland's Justice Department is fucking busy as all hell. Not only have they issued practice and pattern investigations into two police departments, the Minneapolis Police Department, which was the former home of now convicted murderer Derek Chauvin. They are investigating that police department, which in the midst of that trial, if you remember now, how could you not? Because it was only 2 weeks ago, but there have been so many fucking murders since. Also, Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis, a couple of towns over, Dante Wright was killed, right? Taser is what Kim Potter said. And then, you know what? It wasn't a fucking taser. And she killed a 20-year-old kid because she pulled him over for what? Air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. So, Merrick Garland's Justice Department is investigating that police department. They are also investigating the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. This comes a year after Breonna Taylor was killed in her bed while she slept after a no-knock warrant was issued. Now, today, so that was like over the last 2 weeks, right? Now, today, Merrick Garland's Justice Department is like, so Rudy, we coming for you as well. Now, I talk about this often on Woke AF Daily with our legal correspondent, Glenn Kirshner, who you see on MSNBC. He's an MSNBC legal correspondent, and he has his own show on Patreon and YouTube as well. We talk about the fact that we've been waiting, right? It's 100 days in, but we've been waiting for this Justice Department, which is now, actually about justice, to begin to issue, right, investigations or announce investigations into the fucking swamp of Donald Trump. So this announcement today is exciting, one, because Rudy Giuliani is a fucking slug, but also because it signals now to the rest of us that have been on Trump Fed watch that Merrick Garland is in fact coming for them. And so if I'm Donald Trump, if I'm all of these slimy, disgusting Republicans that did his bidding, I would start to take notice as to what Merrick Garland is doing. Now, let's understand why the Senate was kind of slow rolling these Justice Department confirmations and why Republicans wanted to utilize their Jim Crow fucking filibuster in order to stop these very qualified women of color to be Justice Department officials. Why? Oh, I don't know. Because they don't want to be investigated. The fucking Lindsey Grahams, the Josh Hawleys, all of these people, the Mitch McConnells, all of these people that we know have been doing shady fucking illegal shit for the last 4 years and previously so. So they've been slow walking these confirmations, but finally Garland gets confirmed and boom, 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 here the fuck we are. So my hope is that this summer is not only going to be fantastic because you all are out there getting vaccinated, right? So that we can get back to somewhat normal life, but also because I pray to God, good folks, that we are going to have a parade, and not just a pride parade come June, but a parade of Trump associates getting indicted. This is my hope. Because here's the thing. We cannot talk about getting back to normal, talk about justice in this country, talk about all of the different things that this KKK, Republican KKK party is doing if we are not going to go after their criminality. There is no fucking way that we heal as a nation unless everyone who was responsible for the fuckery that we experienced for, let's say, the embezzlement, the fraud, the foreign interference, all of the things that we only know a little bit about, if they're not investigated. We cannot do what past presidents have done, which is what? Sweep everything under the rug. Let's look at Obama. Now, you guys know that I love Obama so damn much. I mean, who doesn't, right? But the reality is this. Had Obama decided to investigate his predecessor, George W. Bush, for lying about weapons of mass destruction, which then led us into a war, right, that we didn't need to be in with the wrong country, in fact, that then cost us billions of dollars. Had they been investigated, had Dick Cheney been investigated, then we would set precedent that, guess what? Presidents are not above the law. We inherited, right? We got Donald Trump from the Republican Party. Why? Because they continue to do illegal fuckery and nobody calls them on it. All we do is get upset and we go on cable news and we talk out of our mouths and we say the things like they're a disgrace, or history will judge them, or all of these things that don't actually fucking matter. Why? Republicans don't read. They don't give a fuck about history, because if they did, they wouldn't try and fight back against the 1619 Project, which, by the way, they're doing in Missouri. They're making it illegal to teach the New York Times Pulitzer Prize winning 1619 Project that tells the true story and founding of these United States. They are saying, no, you can't teach that truth because our whiteness is so fucking fragile that if we are not deemed in our history books to be the saviors of indigenous people, right? And these folks that had to then come and kidnap and murder and torture enslaved Africans, then we wouldn't have this country. It was a quote unquote necessary evil. Well, what the 1619 Project tells us is that no, the fuck, it was not necessary. And yes, in fact, it was evil. But you have Republicans doing what they do, which is protecting whiteness, nonetheless. So here we are at a time where we significantly need to have accountability and responsibility being laid at the feet of people that have fucked this country up. Now, is Donald Trump the only racist? No. Did Donald Trump invent racism? No. Did he invent embezzlement, fraud? Did he invent all of these things? No, no, no. But without proper accountability over decades, we allowed for that kind of character to manifest, right? Like a fucking cancer, like a wart that you can't actually ever get rid of unless you do the hard work of going in and extracting it, pulling it out, and clearing everything out around it. If we do that as a country, then we can, in fact, believe that we can move forward in the spirit of true democracy. But if we're going to sweep all of the criminal shit that the past administration did under the rug and say, oh, we're gonna move ahead because we want to heal, let me tell you something, ain't no fucking wound heal without being cleaned first. Okay, that's just real talk. That is not even like actual science. And no, I'm not a doctor, unlike these fucking people who keep using their platforms and their podcasts and all of their things to spread misinformation. Looking at you, Rogan, who decided to go on social media this week and say on his podcast that guess what? Young people don't need to get vaccinated. Folks, you fucking need to get vaccinated. And if you are taking your medical information from anyone who does not have an actual MD or is in fact a fucking scientist, you are an asshole, okay? I am telling you that. You are dumb, right? Yes, and it is. Thank you, Andrew. This guy has the #1 podcast on Spotify, which means that he has tens of millions of fucking people that are listening to him. The irresponsibility of using whatever platform that you have to spread bullshit when you're not a fucking doctor is ridiculous. And here's the thing that I said on Twitter earlier today. Would you, in fact, you have a toothache, you have necessary dental work that needs to get done. Would you drive yourself over to your mechanic and ask them to look in your mouth and start doing the work for you? Or would you go to a fucking dentist? I'm assuming you all listening to me would go to a fucking dentist. And so you see how stupid that fucking scenario is? That's how dumb people sound when they say, oh, I'm not gonna get vaccinated because, oh, I don't know, Rudy Giuliani or Donald Trump or Rogan all told me don't get vaccinated because I don't need to. They're not fucking doctors. So when the doctors tell you to do something, when the CDC, which is now run by people who actually have sense, tell you to do something, folks, fucking do it. Like, it's not that difficult. I am fully vaccinated. I did not have side effects. And let me tell you something. There is no side effect that you can get from the vaccination that is worse than being hooked up to a ventilator or, in fact, dying. Right? So you're worried about a fever and chill, but you're willing to not have any oxygen and basically die of suffocation? Because that's what happens with COVID, right? Your lungs fucking shut down. So people who are just like, oh, I don't know, I'm so concerned about the side effects. One of the funniest fucking memes that I saw was this. If you survived your teens and your 20s with all of the fucking bullshit that you put in your body, the amount of liquor, fucking poor food, all of this shit, like sharing joints, like doing the most, right? And you managed to survive, don't be fucking concerned with what is in the vaccine. Okay, because you've put worse in your fucking body. And you know what? You've been okay. And you know what? People told you not to do that, but you did it anyway. So here we are. We are at a point, right? See, thank you, folks. Please, in the comments, share the fact that you are vaccinated. If you did get vaccinated, if you had side effects, what your side effects were. Please do all of those things because it is important, right? Like, we want to be able to connect, to reconnect with people that we want to do, and we want to do so safely. So just fucking do that, right? It's not that hard. Okay, so on to the latest. So since last week, we have had more shootings, more killings of unarmed Black people. I am starting to believe, folks, that these police departments, these folks, they're not about change, right? Like, they're not trying to reform. And I've asked people, I'm like, do you think that police killings are escalating, or are we covering them more? Or is it a combination of the two? But the reality is here that everything is escalating and really fucking bad. I want to talk about I want to talk about all of the cases, but one in particular that seems to have people split down the line, and I'm confused about why, particularly Black people. And I'm so glad, Robert, that you were on here, because if you're not following Son of Baldwin, you should follow Son of Baldwin on Instagram, on Twitter. Robert posted this. How the fuck is it that people are so on the fence about whether or not excessive force was used in the killing of Ma'Khia Bryant? I am very fucking confused about where people are with this case. Here's the thing. Ma'Khia Bryant was in the care of the fucking state, right? She was in a foster home. She called the police for help. And much like police didn't assess the situation when they shot and killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice, right, playing on a playground with a toy gun, they rolled up on Ma'Khia Bryant and didn't assess what the fuck was going on, why she had a knife in her hand, why she called the police in the first place. Was she protecting herself? Was she being bullied? None of that. And you know, we still don't have answers to those questions. Why? Because no one who was in charge bothered to ask the fucking questions before they unloaded 4 fucking bullets into the chest of a 16-year-old child. So how you adults out there find yourself saying that the police were justified? And look, I respect Congresswoman Val Demings very much. I respect her. But the fact that she said that she thought that the police acted in the correct way when they rolled up, really? Because I want to know if the police acted in the correct way when they rolled up to Dylan Roof, who had just shot and killed 9 fucking parishioners in a church. I want to know if they rolled up in the right fucking way when they arrested Kyle Rittenhouse after protesters had to tell them that he had shot and killed 2 fucking people. Somehow, these white mass fucking murderers get picked up and they are all good, right? Not a fucking hair removed from their heads. And they are known murderers. When the calls come in, right, they say, this person has just shot up a fucking church. This person has just shot up a movie theater. This person has just shot up a grocery store. They say these things, and yet those fucking assailants who you know are currently fucking armed and dangerous somehow make it into the back of a fucking trooper car and get to go to the police department and still breathe. I'm so fucking confused. Why we continue to debate the actions of police officers who literally do nothing to assess any situation that involves Black people, or more importantly, in this particular fucking case, Black goddamn children. So people want to say, oh, well, she had a knife, the officer couldn't do anything else. Or you want to think that, oh, the officers actually gave a fuck about the other Black people that were standing around? If you believe that, then you're just a fucking idiot. Like, honestly, we know that white supremacists are invading police departments. You know how we know that? Because there was a report that came out 10 years ago that told us that, but nobody did fucking dick about it. We know that they're infiltrating all aspects in all places. So I'm so sorry for the fact that, like, every victim can't, as Ellie Mistel said on Democracy-ish with Touré and I last week, that every victim can't be the perfect fucking victim for white America. Right? Like George Floyd, dying the way that white people expect us to die, which is on our backs, on our knees, begging for our lives, begging for our mothers, and dying in that submissive way. So apologies for the fact that some of us don't go out like that. But not every victim is going to be perfect. But the thing is, do you know who should have more fucking sense? The goddamn police, right? So don't come to me and tell me that, oh, well, Makia shouldn't have had a knife and the police were justified, because in every other fucking volatile situation, they are supposed to be trained to assess the goddamn situation, not just come out fucking guns blazing like this is the wild, wild west and they get to do whatever the fuck they want to do. In that instance, why would anyone ever call the police? Right? I'm telling you, stop fucking calling the police for shit that you should be able to handle on by yourself. And I say this because we all went to high school. We all have seen people get jumped or beat up or what have you, right? Teachers have had to de-escalate situations where students have brought in knives or used pencils and as weapons. So you're telling me that teachers can de-escalate situations between teenagers, but fucking cops with guns don't know how, and training don't know how? Think about that for a moment. Also, let me say this, that if Makia Bryant were a white girl, and you know that I hate to utter that sentence, because you know good goddamn well that we wouldn't even be having this conversation, but let me continue. If Makia Bryant had been a white girl, do you know what the fuck we would be having a conversation about right now? Do you know what every segment on cable news would be talking about right now? Bullying. They'd be talking about bullying. They'd be talking about failure of the state to protect children, what was going on in the foster care home. We would have a backstory into who Makia Bryant was and why her parents had to let her go and what she was doing there and what is going on in that foster home and what was going on in that place, right? These are all of the things that they want to do, that they provide for white people, right? The humanity behind what is going on. Oh my God, let us have so much empathy if her name had been Kelly Bryant, right? Or Cindy Bryant, and she had blonde hair and blue eyes, and she was thinner and not so dark, and this, that, and the other thing. Let me tell you folks that the reason why we have such deep feelings about what has happened to Makia Bryant is because we know that in every fucking instance, she was failed by a system that was supposed to be set up to fucking protect her. So don't sit here and tell me that the police were justified in murdering a fucking 16-year-old girl who called for help. And tell me that they were justified in doing so when all you saw in the video that we have seen is them roll up, not even move from behind the car and just shoot over it. The fuck? Now, you could tell me that that was justified if they rolled up and there was a shootout that was taking place. It wasn't a fucking shootout. And I'm telling you, if we can't rely on police to be able to do their jobs, then they shouldn't fucking have them. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe if in the place where Makia Bryant was killed, maybe instead of having these ballooned police budgets, that maybe if they had invested in social services, you know, the same social services system that was supposed to be caring for Makia Bryant, she would still be alive. So I take grave issue with people right now who want to justify the murder of a child. Fucking check yourself, okay? Honestly. So from that one case to yet another one where a judge today, in the case of Andrew Brown Jr., who was shot 4 times by police while he was trying to flee in his vehicle. The fatal shot was him being shot in the back of the head. The police in this case have only released 20 seconds of video to the family. And the judge, white man, but of course, has decided that it is unnecessary at this time to release the full video of what transpired before Andrew Brown Jr. was shot in the back of the head by police. Now let me ask you this. They have deterred the release of this video to the public for about a month. What do you think that the police are going to do in that time? Do you think that they're not going to redact, doctor, maybe in fact lose said video? And if the video, let me just be clear, if the video showed the police doing all of the right things, motherfucker, they would have released that shit with a quickness. But they didn't. Because anytime that these videos show police doing some fucked up shit, they want to do a slow rollout of video piece by piece by piece. There is something rotten, folks, in Denmark, in Elizabeth, North Carolina, with what is going on with the Andrew Brown Jr. fucking case. Something ain't fucking right. And also, by the way, the only reason why we know about the fourth bullet, the fatal shot to the back of the head, is because the grieving family had to pay for their own autopsy, their own independent autopsy, because once again, we are what? Looking to the murderers to present to us the facts and the truth about the murder that they committed? Do you see like how fucking crazy this is? And then also that the laws in North Carolina dictate that police don't have to provide the body cam footage, that they then get to decide which pieces are relevant to the family. If I were the Andrew Brown Jr. family, I cannot tell you, these black people, these black families, these black mothers that continually are paraded in front of the press, that show so much fucking grace that I would never be able to muster, in all honesty, I would not be my family's spokesperson. I couldn't possibly be, because this is how I speak normally. Right? To tell them that what you can see of your father's end of life, your son's end of life, right, is 20 seconds, and I get to dictate to you how and why? Also, did you all see the snippet of video that we saw of these police officers fully in, what is it? Like army regalia, right? Like SWAT team gear in the back of a pickup truck racing down the streets. It's like these white men get to live out whatever type of like masochistic fantasies that they have. All you have to do is become a police officer. Riding in the back of a pickup truck, speeding down the street to go issue a warrant? That shit is normal? That's normal police behavior in North Carolina? To go issue a warrant, you come up with that kind of force? Were they issuing the warrant to some type of drug cartel? Like, were they told that there was going to be 50 people there with combat gear and weapons and all of this shit? Or were they issuing it to one fucking person? I'm telling you, the level of force that these police officers come at black folks with, and then you all want to say, well, it was justified, maybe he's a drug dealer, maybe he's not. Let me tell you something. I just get sick and fucking tired of the what ifs, right? Let history erase all of your what ifs about police and I don't know what the fuck is in their heart. Because let me tell you something, over the course of these 2 weeks, right, of the Chauvin trial, we have been seeing in the headlines, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but multiple fucking murders by police. Multiple murders by police. And you want to know why we talk about defund? Why we say that something needs to be done? Because they're using us as fucking target practice. They're using black children as target practice. They're using brown children as target practice. It is sick. It is twisted. And yet we still want to say to ourselves that we are the greatest democracy in the world. Where? Show me. Over 200 voting suppression bills have been pushed out across this country on a fucking lie. Police are killing black and brown people with impunity every single fucking day. For every headline, folks, that we see, for every name that we know, understand that there are hundreds that we don't. that there are hundreds that are just known in the community in which they were slain, that don't get the muster and the fury of national outrage. There was a reason why back in the day the NAACP used to hang out a sign that said a man was lynched today, right? Because that was their way to get the truth out to the public of what was happening behind closed doors. That's why videos fucking matter. That's why the Darnella Frasers of the world matter. Their bravery matters. Because when we, right, if there had been people who were there from Ma'Khia Bryant who had taken video and had decided to do what Darnella Fraser did, which was just fucking upload it right away, then we wouldn't be sitting here allowing a white male judge to dictate to us when and what is considered okay for the family of the slain victim to see, because they would have seen it. We all would have seen it. There is so much fucking wrong that is going on in this country, which is why this episode of Woke Wednesday is named Headlines, because these headlines will make your head spin. What I will offer to you all as I close out is this. If you are feeling tired, stressed out, riddled with anxiety, frustrated, and you don't know like where it's coming from or why, folks, it is the world, right? It is the world that we are living in. So as I say on Woke AF Daily all the time, take a break so that you do not have a breakdown. You don't need to watch every video. You don't need to read every headline. You need to protect your sanity and your emotional well-being, right? Take breaks so that you don't have a breakdown. You can be informed, right, without driving yourself crazy, because understand that exhaustion is part of their job. That's what they want to do. Right? What did Toni Morrison say about racism? That it is the biggest distraction because it stops us from doing the work, because it forces us to consistently have to explain our existence. That is their ploy. One of many. Don't fall for the fucking rope-a-dope. If you want more of moi and Woke AF Daily, head over to patreon.com/WokeAF and sign up for just $5 a month. You get 5 brand new shows every single week, hour-long shows every single week. So do check me out at patreon.com/WokeAF. Support independent Black queer voices like mine whenever you have the opportunity. And if you have the money to do so, I greatly, absolutely, truly appreciate it. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Share, share, share. This goes up right after I post it on my page, and you can share it with your peeps. You can share it with whomever. And then it also, the full video goes up on DCP Entertainment's YouTube channel, so you can check that out and subscribe there as well. As I say at the end of every Woke AF show, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke and stay woke as fuck. Until next time.